Excelente, etc.
Thrill me.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Horror Flicks and Guitar Picks podcast. I'm your host, Tim, and today is our first monthly roundtable of the YouTube era. So since this is our first time with video, I figured I'd go through and do another introduction of my monthly co-host for these things, starting with Travis Bennington of Atomic Rule and Eternal Sleep. How's it going, man?
It's going great. It's going fucking great. I'm stoked to be back on the call with the boys.
Oh yeah, Brady Bunch ain't got shit on our beautiful faces, but and we'll go in order of the way you guys joined the show. And next up from Selfish Lover and Bottomfeeder is John Wren. How's it going, man?
What's going on? It's good to see all your ugly mugs again. I don't know if this is safe for YouTube because this is kind of a fucking motley crew here, but but we'll make it work, I guess.
Good thing is we're still pre-monetization as far as any kind of following or anything, so we're good. We don't have to worry about that.
So this would either make money or lose you money.
Right. They're like, you're gonna have to pay us to keep this episode up, but and of course from the Judas Syndrome, Knights of the Black, and the Almighty Irate, we got Phil Vibez, man. How's it going?
Good, brother. It's good to see you guys. It's been way too long. So when the idea came back up to bring this back together, I was all about it. So let's bring this to the YouTube era. And I think we're sexy. I don't know what you're talking about, Ren. So let's do it, bro. Let's get it. Good to see everybody.
All these bald heads are gonna flag us for nudity for dicks. They're gonna be
Too much skin.
Tit heads.
and our next up and final, but the youngest of the group, he's also the one that chose today's topic, which is the Toxic Avenger from 1984 or 1986, however you look at it. We'll get into that later. But Jay Vibez from Knuckle Brigade, as well as Knights of the Black himself. How's it going, man?
What's up, guys? Yeah, it's going great. Glad to be back with the family, getting the band back together, ready to rock and roll. Doing my thing. I don't know if we can say young anymore. I just hit a new decade. I turned 30 last week, so
Hell yeah,
you know,
man.
out my back,
bro.
Ain't no young no more.
You're closer to that Hardy's discount, dude.
You know what? I'll take it.
Phil, I'm on my way to pick you up to go beat your son up for fucking 6 years old.
It's a party to me.
No, hell yeah. I'm stoked to have you dudes back. It's been fucking months. We were supposed to do this back in like August or September, and now it's gotten to the point where this will drop about the same time that the movie, if you go by the 1986 release date, the movie would be just about 40 years old when this episode drops. So it'd be perfect timing.
Hell yeah.
That's amazing.
Word.
Oh yeah. Toxie forever, bro.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, this is the first time on the YouTube era. So for those that haven't listened to a monthly roundtable, before we dive into the topic of the month, we are going to talk about what we've been listening to or watching or even kind of participating in as far as, you know, just music stuff and movie stuff. So we'll start with we'll let the elder go first. Phil, I know you said you had a long list, so I figured I'd let you kick things off with that huge ass list. What have you been up to so far in 2026?
So in 2026, I've been pretty busy in the theaters. Like I go almost like every other week. And there's been a lot of horror so far. Like we're only in March. It's pretty insane, actually. I think this is the busiest horror year I've known in a very long time. But some of the films I've seen are Primate, liked it a lot. 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, really liked that. It was a solid sequel, way better than the first installment of the new trilogy. Jay could attest to that. We all had a good time with that one. Then I saw Night Patrol. Wanted it to be better than it was. It's a Shudder film, vampire film with all these cops. Thought it'd be better than it was. Sadly, it was disappointing. But probably the biggest and the best movie I've seen so far is Fuck My Son.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be unbeatable. It's probably going to be my number one of the year when we get to the end of the year, just for so many reasons. But if you can, because I hear it's not going to come for streaming at all, which sucks. But if you can somehow go to other showings at Alamo, wherever, go see that, guys, because it's fucking amazing. Whistle was good, a pleasant surprise. Didn't know that I'd like it as much as I did, but definitely go check out Whistle. It's very good. Cold Storage, not so good. It wasn't really horror, but it had like aliens in it. So went to check it out, didn't like it. Psycho Killer, very nice surprise. I enjoyed it more than I thought. I think Wren will have a different opinion on that, but I enjoyed it just because there were some good kills in it, and I like the character, the killer. Scream 7, okay, wasn't great, wasn't terrible. There's some things I really liked about it, and then some things where I thought they shit the bed. Dolly is probably my second favorite movie of the year so far. Loved it. I saw it twice already. Really enjoyed that a lot. Undertone is probably the I saw the TV glow of this year. There's always one. Thank you, A24, for delivering the shit bags.
So it rules,
And,
is what you're saying.
and then the last one was Body Cam, which is just something I saw randomly on Shudder, and it was enjoyable. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. So that's what I've been up to horror wise. Musically, Megadeth's new album blew my mind. I love it. I saw the movie before, kind of introducing this last record that they put out in theaters. I think Jay will tell you we all walked out of there with tears in our eyes. And I think Dave Mustaine is going out a champion with all the stuff that's happened to his voice over the years and the cancer and all that. I just love the record. It's really good. And then the second big record for me this year is not even out yet, but the singles have been great. And it's coming out this week, is Nervosa, the Brazilian woman band from out there in Brazil. And I think they're from Rio. But that band just rips. They're one of the best thrash bands I've ever heard in my life. And, the girl, Fernanda from Crypta, was in that band prior to leaving it for Crypta, to develop Crypta. But they've gone on without her in striking fashion, and like I said, they're my biggest obsession right now, and I can't wait to hear the whole record. So that's kind of where I'm at. Since we last got together, I turned 50 years old, had a big bash for it. Everyone here was in there except for Tim, who couldn't make it. We had a blast, one for the ages. And then Knights of the Black filmed the video last year. We finally got it back this year. Life just fucking continues to kick our ass. But anyway, it came out great. I can't wait to share that with you guys. And Wren was a star in that fucking video, and he dies a glorious death. And it was cool to see that on video. So that's going to be making the rounds privately here after this call. But I was waiting for this to happen to let you know that finally happened, and I guess that's it. My son turned 30 years old. He's making me an old man. That's all.
You forgot something. First of all, shout out to Kurt Fowles, who did the video. Great dude.
Kurt Falls from PA.
Awesome to work with. Just real solid. And we loved the time spent with him.
And he really shot a great video. And the reason why it took so long is just so many different ideas on how to make it right, make it really good, and make the vision that I originally had for it pop. And we finally got there, and it's fucking awesome.
Definitely geared towards horror fans. And also on your list of albums, you forgot to give a mention to the singles off that new Archspire, which have all been ridiculous. Limb of Leviticus in particular, like I've said, if you could give robots human musical emotion, that's what these guys are, man. And like fucking musical mastery, because it's not just tech bullshit. Like there's a lot of wankery for nerds like me, sure, but at the same time, those guys write great songs. In addition to that, and that's very hard to do with that kind of music.
I have to agree.
So tip of the cap to them.
Yeah, tip of the cap. And I'm sorry I forgot that. They are on some other level that I can't comprehend. In my brain, like I could never come up with the things that band does. And kudos to them for not staying complacent to continuously raise the bar. And they're, besides Despised Icon, Canada's favorite sons. So shout out to Oxfire.
You mean besides Nickelback, dude? Freaking.
Oh, excuse me. I forgot Nickelback.
Yeah, come on, dude.
How dare I? How dare I?
Speaking of Nickelback, Travis, Atomic Rule's been pretty busy. Have you caught some movies as well as you want to, mention some of the stuff you guys released?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we released two sets of singles last year just to kind of get the ball rolling. And I think that I have this thing with releasing music in December, and you're not supposed to do that, I guess. And then no one listens to it, and then I'm confused every fucking time. But the songs we released in December, I was like really proud of. It was like the first batch of songs that we wrote as an ensemble, and that felt good because it felt like a band to me. It didn't feel like the first three songs where it was just me and Andy sending ideas to each other in a void. And we've been writing since kind of nonstop, and we're planning a big release this year. And a lot of work goes into that stuff, and we're everywhere but together. So it just takes us some time, but I think the songs we're working on are great. I'm stoked on it. And when I haven't been working on that, the I've seen some movies. I haven't seen a ton of movies. A lot of crossover with Phil. I saw Bone Temple in the theater with my dad, loved it, thought it was great. Night Patrol was okay. It was mid, it was fine. One I saw that was not from this year, but I just watched it the other night was Adulthood with Josh Gad. And it's like horror adjacent, but I really fucking liked it. Chaos ensues, and I like a good bit of chaos. Uh, saw The Strangers Part 2. It sucks. We knew that. We knew that going into it. Begonia, I thought was fucking awesome.
Oh
I
yeah.
really enjoyed that. Um, saw the second Sisu movie.
Yeah, that was
That
good.
was fucking wild. He
It
flips a
was.
tank. It's awesome. Uh, I think that might be it. I mean, like shit, like silly stuff, like Anaconda and stuff like that. I got caught up on, and then music wise, Great Falls is a band I like, and they just did a release like last week of like all of their singles from last year. They compiled it into like a full length, and it's killer. Converge put out a record that's just, I mean, it's just Converge playing Hatebreed songs, which is kind of cool. And then the top dog for me is fucking Neurosis. Just dropped a juggernaut of a record, and oh yeah, yeah, this guy. I was like, I needed that in my day the other day, so I've just kind of been listening to all the dark and sad music I possibly can, and yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I'm glad to hear it and stoked to hear some more Atomic Rule in the near future,
Yeah,
hopefully.
seriously,
So,
man. Those singles
Yeah.
were good, bro.
Absolutely.
Thanks, dude. Thanks, guys.
no, I saw you guys were coming to North Carolina, and then I saw it was Asheville. I was like, God damn, 10 hours, dude.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we're gonna get out and do more. There's some potential stuff, but
Yeah.
it's weird how like different the world of booking shows and touring is from 6 years ago. And it's like we've agreed to six or seven different offers, and then like 2 weeks goes by, and it's just like the whole thing gets shit canned, and like everything gets shifted around. It's just like so many moving parts. It's not like it used to be where you just said yes and then you went and did the thing.
Yeah.
But we're hoping to do a lot on the back half of the year, and it should be cool.
Oh yeah. I'm stoked for it for
Yeah,
sure.
bro. Stoked for you, brother.
Thanks, dude.
No, hell yeah. And since we'll end up doing a snake when we start Toxic Avenger, since it was Jay's pick. So we'll go Ren next, and then Jay last, and then Jay will kick off the Toxic Avenger chat with why he picked it, and how he got into it and stuff. But Ren, what have you been up to? I know you were on the show more recently, but it's still been about a month or so.
Yeah. Well, Candy from over at Pod of the Damned and I started recently a podcast about exploitation films, like all the sleazy fucking, you know, off the cuff shit that we're covering. It's called Trash Talk. Mr. Trashmouth himself has been on an episode that I think gets released this weekend. I won't spoil any of that shit. And then so that's what I've been doing podcast wise. And then I have seen a ton of movies. I'm not gonna go through a million of them. Um, but the movies that I did like that I caught 28 years later, obviously it's probably the best sequel. It's probably the best installment of the whole series since the first one.
Yeah.
I really liked Ready or Not, Here I Come. It's just as fun as the first one. I surprisingly liked Send Help. It wasn't really horror. It was more like a survival type thing. It was, and only really two members of the cast. So for, Sam Raimi to just have two people, it was great. He beats the shit out of his leads. So it's a typical Sam Raimi movie. And then I saw that movie We Bury the Dead with Phil's favorite actress. I liked it. It was it's a zombie film. You kind of know how it's going to end like almost immediately, but I liked how they got to it. So that was movie wise. There's a bunch of other shit that I watched that isn't worth talking about. As far as music, I'm counting it for this year. I really fucking like the Nas DJ Premier record. It's called Light Years. It sounds exactly like those equal parts. It's DJ Premier doing music for Nas. Converge's record is a fucking monster. It's like 10 minutes, but it's like it rules. Bitter Branches, which features guys from Dead Guy, Painted Black, like a million other like Philly hardcore bands. They just dropped a record that's really fucking cool. It's definitely for more of you like musician, like out of the norm type players, because I don't even know how to classify it. They'll say it's hardcore, but I think it's more like rock and roll. And then Killing Pace put out a fucking ripper of a record this year that I think you all should listen to. It's just called HCPM, which I think means hardcore punk metal, which is exactly what it is. That's and that's yeah, that's worth listening to. That's it. That's all I got for you guys right now. If we sit here and listen to all the records, because I'm already up to 45, we'll be here for a while.
No, I really enjoyed
Okay.
I really enjoyed that Killing Pace record. I checked it out on your recommendation the other day, and uh been listening to it a few times since then. So I highly
It's
recommend it as well.
it's like what, 20 minutes and it's just pissed the whole time.
Yeah. No, fuck yeah. But and what about you, Jay? What have you been watching and listening to, as well as what I knew Brass Knuckles released some stuff, I think, since last time we chatted.
Well, there's definitely been a lot going on. Yes, Brass Knuckle, we did put out the two song Savages EP,
Nice.
which has had a really good reception. We're really grateful to everybody who's been checking it out and digging in, come seeing us play. Playing a lot of shows. I had one or two that got canceled this year, but I'm back at it again next week. I'm gonna hit Baltimore on Friday, and then after that, well, we're playing Baltimore in honor of Martin and Gary's boy Scotty P, who had passed away. So shout out to him. Much respect. I didn't know him, but God rest his soul. Then the day after that, we're playing with Fury of Five, Sworn Enemy, Strength for a Reason, and a bunch of other great bands out here in Manalapan, New Jersey. Musically, I mentioned the Expire, but I also want to give a shine to two things. First of all, I want to give a shout out to my boy Hunter from Cycle of Abuse, who's got a new band called Viscera Crown, who is just putting out some ridiculously brutal shit. Their title, when you look at their Instagram pages, Your Riffs Are Weak. So when I read something like that, I know I'm in for a good time, plenty of brutal and ignorance. And of course, that last Megadeth record, just fucking epic, man. And accompany that with the movie to just pull up and really, really feel the weight of the situation as Dave goes throughout the whole record and talks about different eras of Megadeth, how each song kind of represents a different era, little tidbits of history, his own personal reflections as well. And there was one more thing. Oh yeah, other than that, I just kind of been listening to whatever, driving around. Well, it could be metal, it could be pop, it could be hip hop, Spanish music. Kind of whatever I'm feeling. And yes, that is a sick vinyl. I'm very jealous, but not really because inheritance, right?
Gotta wait them
Um,
out.
in terms of watching, I'm only going to point out the ones that I really loved because every year there's a bunch that come out. You see maybe once or twice, and into the abyss they go. And that is obviously 28 years later, The Bone Temple. The Bone Temple was a great fucking film. Leaps and bounds better than the first one, which it was good. I give it a lot of slack because, it's the first of a trilogy. So there's a lot of setup, but, I really don't love this kid in the film. I forget his, Spike? Yeah, he's just not doing it for me. We'll see what goes on in the third one with the way that Bone Temple left off the way that it did. No spoilers here. Uh, and Scream 7, I'm gonna say that I like Scream 7. Why? Because it was definitely better than 6. And without getting into spoilers, I really enjoyed the cast. I thought it was just really fucking cool to see, what they put together. Other than that, I've just been watching a lot of weird random shit. Some old stuff. I put on Ringu the other day, and lots of YouTube compilations of like obscure Japanese horror videos that are like amateur shot. Why? Because I'm weird like that. Other than that, my source of horror has just been the games. We've had a lot of great games come out. A few I'll name: Silent Hill F, which really touched on a lot of dark shit, from Japanese arranged marriages and the peer pressure on young women, drug abuse, murder, the whole nine. Really touching. I've only gotten like two or three of the endings. I still got some work to do. We have Resident Evil Requiem, which is the latest installment, came out very recently. I think Ren dropped there. Just fucking great, dude. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Really stellar. Leon is back at it, the face of the franchise. If you ask me, I'm a Leon fanboy for sure. And I like the Grace gameplay. Grace is a really solid character. I like that they tie her in by having her mother is the character from Resident Evil Outbreak, just to kind of keep the relevance to the lore. And Outlast Trials. Outlast Trials has just been hitting banger after banger each season for a lot of games that kind of run dry and overdo it with the in-game currency and all that. These guys, they just introduced in-game currency, but still give you the option to earn it the old-fashioned way. And they've had a lot of great characters and new maps. The Lilia Bogomolova stuff they started with season 5, an entirely different approach on the characters. Instead of a hunt you down, she's more of a predatorial hide in the shadows, because she's kind of like a mannequin sort of deal. It's really creepy, really intense, and I don't see any signs of stopping. So shout out to Red Barrel for putting out banger after banger with that as well. That's all I got.
Oh yeah.
I've been
That,
playing a new version of Double Dragon for PS5.
Oh, sick.
Dude, I fucking love it. It brought back the old school like Final Fight, Streets of Rage, like two D beat 'em ups, and I'm obsessed with it because it brings me back to my childhood. The graphics are really cool, and I thought PlayStation did a great job with that game.
fuck yeah. That's me and my son just ran through Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge,
Oh
which
hell yeah!
is
The
like
good one.
yeah, and we enjoyed the shit out of it. That was one that they kind of pulled a fast one, PlayStation Plus. Fucking, it was free on PlayStation Plus. I had it downloaded into my system and everything, and we went to play it yesterday, and it was locked. It moved up a tier on the PlayStation Plus thing, and so
They
like
took it out, huh?
yeah, now it's like how like on PlayStation Plus there's like tiers where you can pay for like premium has more games.
Yeah, yeah.
It it became part of that tier, so I either had to pay for it or upgrade, and I was like, what the fuck? It was like I already had it, and like we
That
played through it
sucks.
twice and everything,
I
but
really hate that about the game systems and all these memberships and tiers and all. It sucks, dude.
Admittedly, I'm part of the problem because I have the highest tier. I just pay annually. It comes once a year. I get ready for it. Boom, there it is. But you should, if you're putting them onto that, you got to get them on Turtles in Time. They
yeah,
have that now on PS5 also. That's a fucking classic, dude.
yeah, that one might actually be worth like buying. You know what I mean? Since
Yeah.
we already I know he'll enjoy it now that we ran through the other ones. So
Super Nintendo status.
right. But no, hell yeah. As far as watching stuff, only thing I've really watched, which I already mentioned it on the end of the Phantasm episode, because we did our watch list at the end instead of the beginning, because we just got caught up talking about Phantasm. But if anybody skipped that, I did mention that I saw Stream 7. I enjoyed it. I would say I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. It's probably like middle of the pack as far as franchise goes. The end was lackluster, but as far as kills go, probably best in the franchise, honestly. And
Yeah.
but I've been listening to a few things that are pretty cool. Fulci dropped a surprise EP the other day that I really enjoyed. I also really enjoyed the new Final Gasp record. Finally checked that out. I enjoyed Killing Pace that Ren mentioned, and then of course I've been enjoying that Haywire Dropkick Murphys split. So really just been listening to that stuff. I've been reading a lot. Finally finished The Shining, and I'm about 75 pages into Liar Mouth by John Waters per Ren's recommendation. So.
Yeah, if you're a fucking John Waters fan, you should. I hope there's an audio version of it because I know you fucking illiterates don't read.
That's right.
But you should at least listen to it because it like every fucking sentence is wilder than the last one. And I have no idea how anyone even thought about trying to make that into a movie because I don't know how you make it into a movie because it's just fucking absurd.
Yeah. All the characters already. I was like as soon as the thing started, I was like picturing Aubrey Plaza playing the main girl because that's the one that was Marsha Sprinkles, I think is her name is.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to picture who would play Daryl, and I was like could not think of anybody off the top of my head. But no, it's awesome. I just got past the trampoline park stuff, so or at least the first. I don't know if it goes back to it, of course, because I'm only like 70 pages in. But no, I'm really enjoying that. And next up, I have some Grady Hendrix as well as some more Stephen King to read. I picked up We Sell Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but Candy recommended it to me, and apparently it's like about a metal band that it's like a horror book about a metal band, and each like I haven't read it yet, but I've heard nothing but good things. So if you guys are looking for something to read.
Speaking of Grady Hendrix, not to get on like a book talk, but you guys should listen to the audio version of it because it rules. He put out a book called The Final Girl Support Group, which is about all the like final girls from like Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, yada yada. But he can't use their actual names. Like he can't say Sally and Nancy and all that stuff. So all the girls' names are the first names of the actresses that played those characters, like in real life. So Nancy is Heather, like, stuff like that. Sally is Marilyn. So as I'm reading it, I just pictured those women like playing their characters, and it's a fun take on that. Like, I hope they make it into a movie. I had heard that there was like a pitch for it, which would rule, and it'd be awesome if they could get all those girls to come back. Obviously, Marilyn Burns is dead, but it's very worth listening to because it's like having all those final girls back into another slasher film. So if you can find an audio version of that, I would highly recommend you guys listening to that because it was really cool.
That does
Sounds
sound
pretty cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
No, I picked that one up as well. That's when I said I have a couple Grady Hendrix, it's literally We Sell Our Souls and Final Girl Support Group, which that one's been one I've been meaning to pick up forever, or at least listen to, because I think Adrienne King did the audiobook because I had her on the podcast back about the time she did it, if I'm not mistaken. So, who of course, from Friday the 13th Part 1 and stuff. But
Well, Adrienne is a character, like she's a character, like it's the final girl from Friday the 13th. They don't even call it Friday the 13th. They call it like the Camp Counselor Massacre or some shit like that. But everyone knows what it is. But yeah, Adrienne is one of the characters. So that's cool that she did the narration for it.
Hell yeah. No, definitely looking into that. Hopefully My Best Friend's Exorcism, because that was based on a Grady Hendrix book, but it kind of was like meh as far as critics go and like reception. So hopefully that didn't like deter them from making more of his movies and stuff. So.
Yeah.
But hell yeah. And of course, since I already promoted a past episode where I had Adrienne King, I'll promote another one where I had Lloyd fucking Kaufman on, the director of today's movie, Toxic Avenger. Dude played the flute in his underwear for me, so that was awesome.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
You know what I reminisced on recently? Lloyd Kaufman also did an episode of The Angry Video Game Nerd, which is fucking great. And they play all the Toxic Avenger games. And he's full on 100% himself in that episode. Like, it's you want to say it follows an Angry Video Game Nerd script, but I think that's just Lloyd being his fucking self.
No, hell yeah. I actually think it was a clarinet, not a flute, but this was your choice, Jay. How did you get into Toxic Avenger, which I'm pretty sure we know the answer with who your father is right here, but do you remember how you got into it and what made this your choice? I know it's been a while, so if you don't remember why it was your choice, then I don't blame you. So.
Well, I picked it because I realized that you guys haven't done it yet. And at the time, the new one was kind of buzzing. So it just felt right to do the whole series. If we did the series, we wanted to start it from the beginning. That's what I wanted to do. I said series, and my iPad thought I said Siri. Sorry. Um,
Same
anyway,
here.
so to reminisce on the first time I saw it, I don't remember how old I was, but it was definitely in the Bronx when he was living on 238 4th and Broadway at the time.
Yep.
And he just put it on one day. He's like, "Yo, I know you haven't seen this, so sit down, shut up, and watch." Uh, and that I did. And my God, did that shit blow me away. To this day, this is probably one of my more favorite movies just because it is so fucking unhinged, which is something that we all love, right? I mean, all of Travis, his picks are the same way, and I always enjoy them. Speaking of which, you got to send me the name again for that circus one. I've been wanting to show
The
my
Last Circus,
brother's
right?
woman. There you go, The
Yeah.
Last Circus. I've been wanting to watch that again and show one of the family members. But yeah, dude, this movie is fucking great. It's Lloyd Kaufman's finest day, if you ask me, and I can't wait to get into it further with all of you.
Okay. No, I'm stoked to chat about it as well. What about you, Ren? You remember the first time you saw this?
Dude, I saw this on TV. It was on like fucking PHL 17 or some shit like that, like midday on a Saturday when I was like 11. Um, and yeah, I caught it and I was like, what the fuck? Because like, the Toxic Avenger and like the poster art is like this like, superhero thing. And I remember watching it. Now it's obviously a watered down version because it was like, 1993 on like, basic cable. But I remember being like, what in the world is happening? Like, why are all these people like insanely aggressive and like not realizing that it's just like bad acting? But like, I was like, what is this? And then, as he rips the guy's arm off in the Mexican place, as they call it, I was like, yeah, this movie is great. And yeah, and the Toxic Avenger just kind of became like a thing that I would tell everyone about, and I, would watch it. I've probably seen this movie like 100 times since I was 11. But yeah, it was like that was my first intro to Troma. I mean, I feel like anyone that's over the age of 30, Toxic Avenger is your first intro to Troma. Yeah, and so like that was I didn't even know what like Troma was. I just knew about this character and this particular movie. I didn't even know there was a sequel to it for like another 10 years. So but yeah, the Toxic Avenger was that my first watch was like literally on basic cable, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on like a random Saturday.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
What about you, Phil? When, do you remember the first time you saw this film?
Yeah, I think it was like 87 or 88. And, it was like my mom taking me to the local video store. And I was well into horror by then. And I would just pick things that looked cool on the cover. And what greater thing than Toxic Avenger? When I saw that sitting there on the wall, I said, what the fuck? This has got to be great. So I chose it. She rented it for me. And then I went home and watched it with a buddy of mine and maybe my brother. And we just instant love. Instant love. It's one of the greatest fucking, it's horror, but it's not really horror. It's more comedy, but like
It's
it
horror
is so
adjacent. I'll
good.
give it
It's
that.
horror adjacent for sure.
Yeah.
One of the greatest characters in the history of the genre, right? And Lloyd Kaufman's greatest day, as my son said. And I'm gonna tell you that you were about 16 when I showed it to you. 16, 17 maybe. And what a great collection. Like the Troma world, getting introduced into the Troma world is next level shit because what a world full of pieces of shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Marvel universe of scumbags. So, easily just, being a Bronx head, loving that shit because everybody's so goddamn shady and fucked up. And we'll get into the specifics of that later, but yeah, it just blew me away. And like Ren, I've seen it at least 100 times in my lifetime. I watched it last night just to refresh myself on some things. But you never forget it. And meeting Lloyd Kaufman, as many times I have over the years, never gets old. And I just love telling him and thanking him for this film because it is one of my favorite of all time.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely agree. This is the first time we ever see Tromaville, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
awesome. So no, and it's one of those things that now, in hindsight, like especially, for like somebody like me and Jay, born after the fact, it's always feels like this big concept, and if it's wild that this is the originator and still the best one. It's almost like the
100%.
Exorcist of scumbag movies. But
Yeah.
no, and I agree. I feel like superheroes horror like this and Darkman are like almost like in the same subgenre, you know what I mean? Like where they're like horror adjacent, but they're definitely like it's more because of their wackiness or because they fit other realms than actual like being scary. But I will say my wife fucking jumped twice while watching this for like 2 seconds with me when Toxie's chasing the girl down in the basement and stuff when he busts
Oh
out
yeah.
on her. Yeah.
I was just gonna
That
mention
was
that.
legit
Like,
scary though. That
yeah,
whole vibe there was yeah, very
it,
80s horror slasher.
Yeah.
when I was rewatching the first movie this week, that particular scene came on, and I was talking to somebody about how that's what I feel the remake was kind of missing. Because look, that particular scene where she's in the fucking sauna, if you take his head off or you throw a hockey mask on, it's fucking Jason. Like, it's right out of a slasher film.
Yeah.
And the gore being as explosive and painstakingly brutal the way it is in all these movies, you got to be a horror fan to be into that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, kind of like Travis mentioned, like Sisu. I feel like that's why all of us immediately attached to that, knowing that it was like, gory and shit. Like, that's one thing I love is when I watch a good like action film and they take the gore to horror levels and stuff like that. So, but what about you, Travis? What was your first time watching this? Do you remember?
Yeah. Um, my dad definitely knew what it was because, we would drive around in the car with him and he would always be like, kid on the bike, 500 points. Like he would be calling out points and we just
Yeah,
thought it was
boy.
like our dad had a bit, right? And then we went to the local video store, Skip's Video, and he was like, "Yeah, just pick out some movies." And it was on like an end cap because I think it was like 1 through 3 at that point, and I was probably somewhere between 9 and 11. And my dad, I just picked it because it looked cool. It looked like shit I was into, like comic book shit. And my dad was just like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "All right." So he went and rented it for us. He got all three of them because he's like, if you're gonna watch one, you're gonna watch all three of them. And we go home. He puts in the original, and I was just like, hell yes. Like him and I are just loving it. My youngest brother, or my younger brother, my middle brother, to this day, he's never been able to finish it. He makes it as far as them backing over the kid, and then he taps out. He's just like, can't do it. And he was excited about the new one because he's like a big Peter Dinklage fan. And he was like, dude, I'm really excited for this Peter Dinklage version. So I went back and tried to rewatch the original. He's like, I can't do it. He's like, it's too fucked up. I just can't get into it. And but my dad and I sat and he binge watched all three with me, and that was like the kickoff, and been a fan ever since.
Did he like the new one? Because that's another thing I feel like the new one is missing. It's fucked up, but this original movie, it can't be topped. It's so
Yes.
unbelievably fucked up,
Yeah,
and that's what makes it great.
I
Well,
agree.
Yeah.
well, I mean, we're just going to jump into it. I mean, the thing with the remake versus the original is like you have a real studio like doing the new one. You can't. And back in 1984 or 83, whenever Kaufman actually filmed the first one, they were working on not a huge budget, even if you like move it to today's money. And it's like a first time filmmaker. It's first time actors. Some of these actors have never in anything other than this. Um, so
And
like
him doing the sound effects.
yeah,
Lloyd is definitely doing a lot of those fucking
yeah. So
fight
like
noises.
so that guerrilla like excitement filmmaking that they had when they made that, like it's kind of hard to replicate it when you're doing it with like a sanitized studio. Like it's still fucked up. Like it's definitely like I know a bunch of people that like would not like there's I have coworkers that would watch that new Toxic Avenger and tell me that I'm like a maniac for liking it, and that doesn't even scratch the surface of the original. But I feel like while I like the remake, I feel like they were never going to capture the magic of the first film, because the first film, it had they had to do so much like on a whim and what they could do. And sometimes when you're like kneecapped with like production, like you make magic out of it, because
Well,
you have to be creative. You can't use fucking CGI and all that stuff. So like that's
which they did in the new one also. There is a
yeah.
lot of CGI in it, but what I'll say about it too, I do like it, but it gets a pass also because it's not Melvin. Walter is a completely different character. It's a new story, and what I think they wanted to do with this one, obviously with the bigger budget and whatnot, it's basically an R-rated DC superheroes film. A step above the Marvel in the tone, but it's kind of just all the same tropes with a violent coat of paint and a deformed, dwarf as your lead.
Yeah. No, it is pretty much like Deadpool, but the nods, instead of being to Marvel or to Troma films, like they talk about Nukem
Yeah.
High, and I love it. I will agree, but it definitely doesn't hold a candle to the original, and that's one of the exact reasons what both of you guys touched on is the fact that that old one uses such realistic looking gore in the middle of all this goofiness that it's almost like plays into the dark humor and like your uncomfortableness that makes you laugh even harder. And but that new one can't do it, because even in like when it's doing like something that's like horribly gory, it's so CGI that it takes you out of it and stuff like that. So no,
I
I really
also
enjoy
feel
it.
like I also feel like Elijah Wood was underutilized a little bit in this film because I was very excited for him. Now, Kevin Bacon was the fucking man, as you expect him to be. He was a great bad guy, total dick the whole time, from when he's pretending to be the nice guy in the restaurant and then making fun of him after to when he becomes the big beast. Magic every time he's on screen. But I don't know. I went in there expecting not expecting the original, but expecting like something a little more hard. And maybe that was too much. It kind of just didn't deliver on that. But like I said, I do like it. And one thing that I did think was genius about it was the one bad guy who had the chicken head, and when you pull his mask off, he's got a fucking baby head.
Yeah.
That was the tip of the cap to the original, if there ever was one. That I loved, but yeah,
I mean, the reason I let's also factor in the time. That was the original was made in the no fucks given era.
yeah.
Like say whatever the fuck we want to say, do whatever we want to do, kill
Do
whoever we
hella
want to,
cocaine. All those
do a
guys in the
ton of
original, they're
drugs.
on mad coke.
Like no fucks given. It
Bozo is
doesn't
coked
matter
out in every scene.
if you're offended. Fuck you.
These dudes are
That
on
was the
PCP.
attitude back then,
Mhm.
and that's what made Lloyd great. And that's why I'm a fan, because a lot of his movies were no fucks given. And I love that about Lloyd. Can't do that now. I mean, you can a little bit, but you can't. Compared to back then, you just can't. Not if you want a theatrical release. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Puerto
So
Ricans are 30 points.
exactly. And I just love that. I love that era. I know I should modernize myself sometimes and catch up, but I just miss that era, the freeness of that era so much. Um, and it's something that I'm glad I was alive for.
But you know something though, in addition to that, even if you take out all the stuff out of it that's like non-PC, I'll say in quotation marks because fuck all that shit. But a lot of just the random what the fuck shit is it was also part of it where the newer kind of don't do that. Like I give you an example. The fucking scene when they're in the burrito shop or taco shop, whatever, and the dude pulls out the nunchucks out of nowhere, just out of left field. They're having a brawl, and dude is ready to do and enter the fucking dragon out of nowhere. Like, come on,
And he
you
butts
got to
the
be
dog.
creative. Yeah, he butts the dog. Not only that, but he shoots the dude, and he looks. He goes, "It was self-defense." Like, oh my god! And some of the one-liners in this movie are just fucking incredible. I said the Puerto Ricans, that sissy stuff. He's faking it, Julie. He's faking it. If this guy can't take a joke, he stinks. Like, come on, bro. That's what's missing from the new one, and that's why I love this fucking movie to death.
No, I think the new one has some good nods and stuff like that though, with
Yeah,
like
definitely.
when he's in the doctor's office and in the background you just hear them going like, "Oh fuck!" Like stuff's just fucking up the whole time. Like you can't hear what's going on because the whole time construction people are just dying in the background, and like
Mhm.
the way that the dude is being a dick to that old lady at the beginning and just throws the cat into the street, and he just his first reaction is to straight rip his arm off, which is definitely a nod to like the movie and stuff. But I do agree that the first one does it in more like wackiness, but the first one also like doesn't try to carry as much of like a straight story. It almost just like has like a montage for 30 minutes in the middle of Toxic fucking people up, which I'm here for 100%. But now my first time watching Toxic Avenger, just to touch on it real quick, is honestly ironically, even though Wren said everybody over 30, this was their first foray into Troma, mine was actually Poultrygeist. And I watched it randomly. I was on Netflix back when it like first started, like streaming and stuff like that. We were playing a show somewhere in Norfolk, this place called the Wesley House that was like religious, like, and they were like kind of strict on like they try to be strict on cussing, but bands didn't really fuck with it and stuff. But and they had like Xbox 360 with Netflix on it, and so one day we all watched Poultrygeist up there while we were like waiting for the show to start while we were there for load in, and fucking like died laughing. And because of that, I watched more Troma and stuff. But I will say, even like that, while it has all the other Troma things, the gore in that still goes like way over the top to where the gore in Toxic Avenger does have that shock value to kind of add to the humor and stuff like that of it and the uncomfortableness of those scenes. But uh once I finally watched this film, and what's funny is you guys mentioned, the whole like the 20 points thing. I thought I just had like a racist uncle's friend back in the day when he was yelling Mexican for 20 points driving down the street. But then finally I watched this movie and see that it's like a nod to something. And now I really enjoyed this movie. It's like the first time watching it. It's definitely, I mean, it was back around like 2013 when I saw it for the first time, maybe even earlier than that, like early 2010s. But I really fucking enjoyed the film. It like held up after all the, because it had been in the zeitgeist for so long. I'd always heard about it, but like nobody in my family had even seen it, I think, to be like, to say it was too much or this or that. So nobody really pointed me in that direction. So once I finally saw it, I was like, holy fuck. Like, and it was really that scene that you're talking about, Travis, that your brother can't get past with the kid getting his head ran over. That's
Greatest
really
scene of all time.
Oh yeah.
that was where I was sold. And then when it goes back around and she masturbates to the pictures, I was like,
Oh my
Yeah.
God,
yes,
yes.
dude, this fucking
Yes.
shit is
Because it's
going
something I
love-
would do.
I love when they're in that car and they just kill that poor kid, and then the other dude goes, "Well, I can't come tomorrow. I got to go to church," and everyone's like,
Yeah.
"Oh."
No, and you mentioned the cocaine. I was waiting for them to have like that demons moment where they pull out the cocaine and just start snorting it and shit. But no, that's
You know
what's
what? I want to give another honorable mention to a great kill from that movie, because there's a lot of fucking dope gore in that film. But in the gym, when he takes the drug dealer and he just
100%.
mashes his fucking
yeah.
head in the what's that machine? Anyway, and it's just his fucking face is moving with the little animatronic thing that he had is so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the top three for sure of kills in that movie. But yeah, I mean, you know how I feel about kids getting dusted. And what greater fucking highlight of kids getting dusted than that one? That is number one of all time.
When he's like crawling and shit.
and when they go back to it and you see the up close brain splatter all over the place, you can't do that shit today, man. And
Oh no.
that's why I love it so much. It's so fucking brutal. But yeah, the drug dealer, Frank's arm getting ripped off, that's fucking great.
The fight in general in the alleyway is probably my favorite scene in the whole movie, just because
Yes,
of the
sir.
banter,
Yes, sir.
and the characters. Like
With
you got
nipples,
Cigar
a
Face,
cigar
you got
face.
this one dude who's dressed like a chick, and the other dude, and it's just fucking.
Full
He
on
punches him in the
mustache, like,
nuts,
oh
and then
yeah.
his voice goes high.
Yeah.
Nose
It
Sorry
just
break.
about
broke
that.
all the rules, right? It broke all the rules. And that's what made it great. It's like what wow, it's literally a movie that is fun from beginning to end. If there's no chill.
He turns a dude into a fucking sundae,
Yeah.
and he's just there for ice cream and
And the
syrup.
frying
Fucking,
hands.
oh,
Fucking
dude,
brutal.
brutal. Yeah.
If you imagine that in real life, you're like, what the fuck? That is the worst thing that could happened to somebody, you know?
His transformation too. His transformation in
Yeah.
itself
Yeah.
is pretty brutal.
The
You
effects,
know,
I don't
and
know who did
fucked
the
up.
effects, but whoever did the effects, kudos to them because that was such top-notch shit for a low-budget film. I can't get over that.
Yeah.
That
Not only, you know what,
transformation, so
too,
good.
that going back to that fight scene in the alleyway, one of the funniest fucking moments in my entire life to this day is right after that scene. They just had a fight. He chased the dudes off, and he goes to the cop, and you expect him, this big monster, to like, sound like a Hulk or something, but he just talks to him
The
in
voice,
plain English. He's like, "Are you all right? I'm not going to hurt you." And dude, I
genius,
fucking ugly
genius.
cried, laughed the first time I ever saw that shit. Like it caught me so off guard.
I
Yeah.
remember showing it to your brother. Remember when we saw when your
Yeah.
brother
Oh,
and
he
the voice
died.
came out for the first time? He was like, "What
Uh,
the fuck?" Like he couldn't believe it, and it was such a
uh,
great reaction. I'll
oh
never
yeah.
forget that reaction to that.
Yeah,
And even the
especially
background shit that's going on, like when they're in the gym and you see all the background characters just doing random crazy shit. Like I remember one time in the movie there, I think Bozo's talking to Slug, and in the background, like somebody's getting jumped and shit, and like just random shit going on, and the whole time it just adds so much flavor to this fucking thing.
speaking
Yeah.
of background stuff, some of the stuff that makes me laugh the most is when you notice that, like, for instance, when they beat the shit out of that like grandma and steal her car, like
Oh,
in the
Yes.
hell yeah.
in the background, you just see like normal everyday. It's like people who aren't in the movie, they're just like walking across the street, like no one's paying attention, like no one gives a shit.
Nobody
Because they're like,
cares.
because they're clearly like, oh, these people are filming a movie. Like I'm not fucking paying attention, but like I just start laughing because I'm like, oh man, they're like beating the snot out of this fucking woman and stealing her car and like smashing her like groceries in the street. And like people are just going about their day. And I'm like, all right.
Right after she thanks them and says,
Yeah.
"It's so good to have nice boys in the neighborhood." And
Yeah.
they fuck her up. I love every second of it. I almost want to join.
That's some Bronx shit right there, bro.
Oh
I
yeah.
also
Yeah.
I also love like the aggressiveness of like the villains, like when they're just in the very beginning when they're in the gym and they're sitting in the hot tub and they're like, look at this fucking asshole. He drives me like he gets so mad just by seeing him, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
why is this guy fucking stressed out?
He's
Like
stressing me,
Cocaine,
Julie. He's
It's
stressing
called
me.
cocaine.
yeah, yeah,
Lots of cocaine.
yeah,
No, they scream their lines twice as hard as the It's
Yeah.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia crew. That's for fucking sure.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the women, Julie and Wendy. Oh, Wanda. I'm sorry, Wanda.
Yeah.
They're fucking batshit crazy, just like Bozo and
Yeah.
Slug are.
Yeah.
It's fucking beautiful. They're like snapping photos of the fucking obliteration of that kid, and like we mentioned earlier, masturbating to that shit. Like these girls are next level fucked up, and I love it.
His girlfriend, while innocent, she's a little weird too. Like she's not
Yeah,
an
Sarah.
entirely sane character.
Not at all.
The blind
yeah.
girl.
Yeah, the blind girl, but that's another layer. Like this beautiful blonde, blind girl. You know, you added her in the mix as his love interest, and she played it to the fucking T, bro. She was committed to that shit, and she was like ditzy and totally blondish, right? But like innocent in a way, like stupid innocent, like, and it just was flawlessly done. So super kudos to Sarah, the character. Yeah.
Yeah, she made it super likable for the little she had to do, you
Yeah.
know. So no, and Jolie was like you said, it kind of went into her evil. She was the one that came up with a plan that turned Melvin into Toxie. So she's fucking the mastermind behind it all. But now my favorite
Right, fast
scene,
chick.
right? My favorite scene in the entire movie is when the cops come to investigate the Mexican place. Is that what it's called? The Mexican
Yeah,
restaurant?
it's literally
Or-
called the Mexican place.
Yeah, the
The
Mexican
Mexican
place.
place.
Yeah. And they're just in there stuffing their face with tacos while like looking at the dead bodies and shit. And
Yeah.
they're like, but they're doing it like ferociously, where like shit's falling everywhere while they're eating them. It's like, and of course you got the Nazi fucking police chief and
Oh yeah. Mein Führer. I mean, mein
Can't
police
forget
chief.
him.
yeah.
Another unsung hero of that movie.
But shout out
For
Pat
sure.
Ryan that played the mayor. He passed away very young at like in 1991, I think, or something like that. He's only like what in his 40s, I think.
So so that dude's from Ridley Park, which is about like 10 minutes from my house. And I don't know if it's out yet, but there's a documentary about him coming out called It Came from Ridley Park.
Yeah.
And it's about that guy who played the mayor, the RL something or other. So that's coming soon. Like now that you mentioned him, it just reminded me. But yeah, apparently he's been in like a bunch of things, and I'm gonna watch it because I didn't know that dude was from Ridley Park until the other day.
Yeah. No, I didn't realize he was in. Well, I mean, because I'd only seen it one other time before when Joe Bob showed it, and then me and Candy just did an episode on Street Trash. So that was like the first time I like realized put two and two together. That's who it was when I
Yeah,
watched it this past time watching Street Trash. He was in two staples of the '80s for sure. But no, hell yeah, you guys.
Free Trash is a good one too.
How do you guys feel overall about the Troma tone? Like we talked about how, like this kind of sets it off. Introduces us to Tromaville. We talked about how like pretty much characters scream their lines, all the gore's over the top. And Travis, you haven't said much in a minute. How do you feel about the Troma tone overall?
I mean, I love it. I think that it has a very specific place in our culture. And I don't think that there's like, I mean, there obviously, some of us are really into like extreme shit, but I think that this has like a weird pocket all its own where
Yeah.
it's like really over the top. It's super campy. It's got a lot of gore. It's got a lot of, profanity, and but it just does it in a way. It's kind of like Guar, man. It does it in like a perfect way where you don't feel cornball for loving it. It's like it's not so over the top that you can't share it with people, or it's like a movie that like is only for like people at an extreme. It's like I think that it's like a party movie, dude. You can put it on anytime and at least half the room is going to go like this is the best shit ever. And you just have fun with it, and I like that it never took itself seriously. Like I mean, obviously, I feel like they cared about what they were doing, but it was very intentional to not be a serious thing. And it's like it occupies like kind of a similar space for me as like John Waters does and like his work. And it's definitely like maybe two sides of that same coin because it is what it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love it. And I like that no one has come after it. Everybody just leaves it be. Like in the modern age, like it would be really easy for people to be like, these things should go away because they're offensive on every level. And instead, it's like a unifying front. Everybody's like, yeah, man, fucking Puerto Ricans 30 points, man. Like it's cool. It's
Oh yeah.
fine. We're okay with it.
I'm
And
Puerto Rican, and that's one of
Hell
my
yeah,
favorite
30
lines.
points for me, baby.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I'm glad that it gets to still exist and no one fucks with it. And people love it. It has maintained its audience over the years. Um,
And
Well, I
there's
think
something wholesome about it too at
Yeah.
the same time, weirdly and oddly enough. Like because he means well. He just wants to help people and
There's an
get these
innocence to it.
criminals. There's such an innocence to his character and to the girlfriend that it mixes well with every other chaotic part of this. I can't describe it. It's one beautiful fucking mixed bag.
Well,
Awesome.
I think part of the reason that this movie can exist in this modern, more we'll say friendly environment is because it's not mean spirited. I
yeah.
feel like
Right.
even the quote unquote offensive stuff isn't like done to be mean, and so like I feel like that's with like most trauma films because if you look at a film like fucking Surf Nazis Must Die, like there's a lot of fucking questionable shit said in that movie. I mean, because the fucking characters are Nazis, but like, but it's not like you can. They're the bad guys, so they're obviously going to say fucked up shit. They're Nazis,
Yep.
so you expect fucked up stuff. But like, I don't think anyone would. Well, I mean, that's more of a niche film. Like that's. I feel like Toxic Avenger is probably one of the most accessible trauma films, if not the most accessible trauma film. But I feel like anytime Troma does something, it's tongue in cheek. It's never mean spirited. They don't. So like, I don't think I think the Toxic Avenger survives in the essence because it's like they're not doing things to just be
Right.
assholes. It's just like this is what we did. It's also, I think people also give it some leeway because it's 1984. Like
Yeah.
the line was over here somewhere, not where it is now. So like,
Yeah.
it's like any of those movies. You watch like Animal House or Porky's or anything like that. Like, there's no way those fucking movies get made today,
Right.
in the same way. But
Definitely not Porky's for sure.
they get a pass because they were made in the fucking 70s and they're not mean spirited films. I think the Toxic Avenger falls into that category.
Yeah, and like you said, they're bad people doing bad things, right? So it's not like it's just gratuitous for the sake of being offensive. It's like building these characters as like shithead scumbag people, So it's like you're watching all of these really awful people just be awful. And I think that's, like you said about Nazis, it's like to the character for them to behave this way. And they do get some of their comeuppance, and I think that makes it okay.
They all die terrible, egregious deaths
Yeah.
for their behaviors. I would say that they more
there's
than
a
pay
price
their
to pay.
penance.
Yes.
Scumbaggery does not pay, kids.
Not in Tromaville.
No, definitely not.
No, and to kind of like to touch on something that like a few of y'all said, like a few different things that each of y'all said, starting with what Travis said. I kind of agree 100%. Troma's got this effect that, telling somebody that it's a John Waters film or even a David Lynch film, that they know exactly what they're getting into immediately with that. And the only difference with Troma is that, this was started by Lloyd Kaufman, but so many people have been able to adapt to his style and make films that live in this world of Tromaville. That's it's awesome to see it, like they're even working on a Poultrygeist 2 right now, and I'm actually kind of excited for it and stuff like that.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, I can't remember who's directing it,
Yes.
but I don't think it's Lloyd, but of course he's producing it and been like on set and stuff. But
That's another classic that I'd like to get into with this group at some point.
oh yeah, maybe for Thanksgiving we'll do Poultrygeist. But
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Hell yeah.
But no, it's like I agree. Like as soon as you sell somebody Troma, there's like very few films that kind of stick out as different. They always have some kind of like aspect of like those Troma films. I will say like what I wanted to mention that Wren touched on is being the most accessible. The most accessible is probably Lolly Love. I don't know if you guys have ever checked that one out, but that's one of my favorite Troma films, and it's I think it was co-written by James Gunn and Jenna Fisher, and it's directed by Jenna Fisher from The Office. And it was back when they were married. And pretty much it's a mockumentary where they're starting a company where they go around giving suckers to homeless people with like um inspirational messages on them. And it's like a dark comedy. So the whole thing is just very like them trying to sell the company of like giving out suckers with inspirational messages, but they're trying to sell it. And people are like, how do we make money? It's fucking hilarious, but like only if you like uncomfortable, like dark humor stuff. So I would say that's more accessible because there's no gore in that, you know what I mean? But but it has like exactly that. But watching that, knowing it's a Troma film, it has that same like humor that feels like it still fits in with these films and stuff like that. And I would love to dive more into some of the Troma like offshoot stuff, to see how much it goes out of this realm. But overall, like the classics, like the Nukem Highs, the Poltergeist, the what's another classic one? Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, you got
Romeo and Juliet. Yeah.
which I mean, of course, and then I mentioned, that's one thing we haven't touched on yet with, I mentioned James Gunn and Jenna Fisher doing that film. James Gunn wrote Romeo and Juliet. Matt Stone and Trey Parker did Cannibal the Musical. You had Samuel Jackson in Death by Temptation. You had
Kevin Costner's first film was a Troma film.
Yeah, no,
it wasn't made for Troma, but Troma picked it up and released it. But technically, Kevin Costner's first film was a Troma film.
that was probably the one that blew my mind the most. That was the only one I literally didn't know until earlier today when I was looking up stuff for the chat. I was like, oh shit, but I didn't see which one he was in and stuff. It's wild the people that have gotten their start with Troma and they're going to do such massive things, and
so many.
But like for instance, it shows the love James Gunn has for Lloyd Kaufman. He's been in every Guardians of the Galaxy film, and I don't know if he showed up he was in Superman, right?
He's in every James Gunn film. He's in Superman. He's one of the angry mob like pounding on the building before they cast that force field. He's in Slither. He's like the crazy guy that's like arrested in the police station. He's in what the hell is that movie that Gunn did with Rainn Wilson? He's in that as well.
Oh, Super.
Yeah, he's in literally every movie,
Yeah,
either by voice or they show him.
yeah. Oh yeah, which goes to show that like he at least doesn't mistreat people because why would somebody do that for him,
Yeah.
and stuff. So oh
And
yeah,
good on James Gunn for not forgetting where he came from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
no, definitely. But oh yeah. Now and there was something that Phil mentioned that, oh yeah, the heart of the film. That was the only other thing that I wanted to touch on, and I agree 100%. Not only does it help with her, like loving him and being willing to trust him and stuff like that, but the whole town rallies behind him in the end
Yeah.
of the film. They're the whole
Right.
like "I heart the monster hero" shirts and stuff. Like that's become a big selling point for Troma, but it all stems back to like being in this film, which was smart on Lloyd's part. He did it for knowing he could sell the shirt later, but. uh no, no, I love that whole part where it shows them all just like sitting around talking about how he saved them, at the diner and stuff like that. And that's like the first part of the movie where people actually like nobody's saying anything too over the top, nobody's being goofy. They're literally just sitting there having a true conversation about like this is bullshit, like we don't want him to die and stuff. So
Then
Yeah,
yeah,
and they
they're ready
didn't
to jump in front of
believe.
a gun for him.
yeah,
Right. They were willing to sacrifice themselves for him. And they didn't believe that when he killed the dwarf lady, that she wasn't bad in some sort of way. You know what I'm saying? That she definitely deserved to die. They just didn't know why.
yeah.
They gave him the benefit of the doubt.
No, he straight threw her in the dryer. I was like, oh shit.
No ticket, no washy.
Yeah, we said that line. I was like, God damn it. But
Uh,
no, and I gotta say it's not PC, but outside of the taco thing, my favorite thing in this film is the gay couple. Like every time they show up, I fucking die
love them.
laughing. So
They're
they're
fucking
obviously just a huge
hilarious.
Great.
stereotype, but like he's like, I heard he's into blondes.
Yeah.
Over the top 80s gay guys.
Yeah, that shit
The
got me
best.
weak.
The
I was watching.
best.
I watched this film on my Blu-ray, and then I had to stop it because my son came home like 30 minutes earlier from the sitters, and so then I was like finishing up last night on my computer, and Shutter was doing this weird thing where it would like black out like there was a commercial.
Yes. I
Yeah,
noticed that last night when because I watched it on Shutter and it would
Which
yeah,
do
which
that blackout thing.
I
I don't
bet
know where that come from.
which means that there's going to be a tiered system for Shutter coming.
probably that's probably exactly what it is. Because when I watched it again because I like remembered what scene it was because it happened during the I heard he likes blonde scene, and I was like, oh shit, maybe that was just like I was like maybe that was just a weird edit, because it is Troma, like early Troma. But then it happened again, like right after like a kill after that, and I was like, oh
Yep.
fuck, this better not be like edited for TV. So I waited and finished watching it today on the Blu-ray, and it nothing was edited out. It was just literally just moved straight through. So I was like, maybe this is
Yeah, I bet you with Shutter doing all those, picking up all those movies and spending money on the movies, I bet you there's a tiered system coming to Shutter. There's gonna be like $9.99 with commercials and $15.99. They all do it, so that's probably a
That's so
test run.
lame.
That's
they just
probably
did
a
a big
test run.
update too. Like their
Yeah,
apps look
Yeah, the big update is good because like I don't know, my TV is pretty new and it just was a pain in the ass to wait for it to upload and all this. So I'm glad it's much faster now and it's much easier to
yeah, but
navigate through.
which means it's probably coming with a bigger price tag. So
Mhm.
yeah,
This is why we got to keep physical media alive.
100%.
You know,
Yep.
it's tough sometimes because the convenience is there. I'm one to talk. I got mad digital downloads on my PlayStation, but dude, like they're one they're a hair away from just like taking it away from all of us whenever the fuck they want.
yeah,
You
Well,
know what I mean?
yeah,
They already do that. They'll pull shit off stores and off streaming and just make it almost impossible to find. Like keep physical media alive, bro. Go buy the shit.
Christopher Nolan pointed that out, and everyone was like, "Oh, you just want to make money in the movie theaters." And he's like, "No, I'm a fan of the." He's like, "You have Amazon Prime." He's like, "You buy a movie." He's like, "If they decide that they want to, clear room for it to put out, 100 new movies." He's like, "You don't own it anymore." He's like, "So you can't watch it. You paid $20 to buy it," and he's like, "Now you
For a
can't even watch it."
license. It's
But
a
then,
license rental.
yeah, and then you also have all that shit with like, there's a new, we'll say like the new Evil Dead's, coming out in a couple months. You won't be able to find any of the Evil Deads on any of the streaming. They'll get all pulled. Like if you're like,
Yep.
oh, I want to watch these movies to like get into it, like they'll all be gone. So if you want to like refresh yourself on like the series, you got to go. You need to own it because so physical media is the way to go. Like I avoided it for a while because I was like, man, I have too many fucking things. Like, what am I going to do with all these when
I know there's a
if I
space
move
issue. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always thinking, I'm like, oh, well, what if I move again? Blah blah blah. But fucking yeah. At this point, I'm just like, nah. It's more important to own the physical shit.
Worth it.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's the same with games. Now, even if you get the disc doesn't carry fucking information on it. It's just a license. It's
yeah,
a rented license that you could download a fucking application. It's ridiculous.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's why I pretty much like my collecting. Like restricted it down to just physical media because like I used to buy all these like figures and like cool artwork and stuff, and I was like I have plenty of that at this point, and I even have more artwork that needs to be put up and framed and stuff. I was like I was like I need if I'm gonna spend my money, I want it to be on something that I can use, like actually like it's still a collection, but I can use it. You know what I mean? And I got some wrestling figures I play with from time. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I actually just started buying this for my kid, and I can't lie, that's nostalgic as hell having him like pick that shit up because that was like my toy as a kid was like wrestling figures. But and so like I just started buying like nothing but Blu-rays. Like if I got an extra $30, I pick up whatever's like on sale that week. I'll pick up like that week I picked up 7 Shawshank Redemption and Darkman. I literally got them all for under $10, and it was like the whole trilogy of Darkman 2. Or not, not all 3 for $10, but $10 each. But
Yeah.
but like a perfect example right now is Barbarian. Like Resident Evil's coming out by Zach Kreger this upcoming year, and Barbarian still has no physical release, which I know that there's been like talks on podcasts and stuff that it is in the works, but at this moment there isn't one. And say like something happens where, like the one site that does have it goes down, or they just finally, knock it off of, I guess you could still pay for it on like Amazon Prime, but it's just the fact of like, say something happens where that goes down or your internet goes down, or just, I don't know, it just sucks that, that's why I think Christopher Nolan was so hard in that fight against Netflix buying Warner Brothers, is because of how they treat physical media. So many other films might get a theatrical release. They finally got on board with theatrical stuff, but they still shit on physical media. And I think that's where like his big concern was they might get a theatrical release, yeah, but like even like Stranger Things, like uh to this day, I think still doesn't have like a
No,
like
Plus,
for Stranger Things just announced the box set for the whole series.
oh yeah, Arrow's doing it because I was surprised by that, but
Yeah,
let's not forget the fact that, like, for instance, like my Dawn of the Dead box set, right? It's got like 3 different cuts of the film. You don't
yeah.
get that in streaming.
Right.
Those options are gone. So you can't enjoy that kind of stuff. And that's why I still believe in physical media.
Yeah, but that same shit you have is very tough to get now. I had to get the UK version, which is only 3. You have 6.
No, but I will say though that like,
So they have to print more in addition to that.
but
Yeah, I jumped on that pretty quick.
to go back to Toxic Avenger, like we said though, with that, like we don't know if the things we're watching on streaming are edited too. Like they might be throwing some
Right.
weirdly edited version up there, and like when you go on
George
Amazon Prime,
Lucas.
yeah, when you go on Amazon Prime and scroll, there's times where they have the remake picture for the original, or they'll have
Yep.
like some random fucking picture of like somebody, like just like a print from like another film that like attached to the film just because it has Tom Cruise in it or some shit. And so like they're so lazy about that shit that it makes you wonder sometimes like what they're throwing up. And sometimes they won't throw up the rest. Like there'll be a perfectly good restorated copy out there, and instead of that being on Shutter, they'll have like the shitty version, up there, and you got to watch it grainy as hell. So no, I agree. Physical media
And even
still,
Shutter edited Victor Crowley.
yeah.
They took out the dick.
Yeah. Can't
I
take out
mean,
the
not that I
dick,
wanted to
dude.
see cock, but
No,
that's how it was made. Show
it's
the cock.
literally the only reason I watch movies,
Yeah.
is so I can see a dick.
Yep.
They go up 2 points if they have dicks.
Yeah.
No, I,
Let the cocks live, bro.
Yeah,
no, and some of my favorite episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia have been taken down for, having, things that are deemed offensive, but they do it in the same way that like Troma does, where it's like obviously poking fun at it, or like not in a mean-spirited way or anything. So, but like luckily I have those like the first 10 seasons of that on DVD, but it's like even there I miss it. Like one of my favorite episodes is when they do the Lethal Weapon episode, and that episode is not not up there anymore, and it's hilarious, but you can't rewatch it and stuff. So, but we can dive back into Toxic Avenger to kind of, do you guys have any scenes that we didn't touch on that you guys want to talk about before we, wrap up and
I
rate
have
it?
one. I have one, and that is the ever classic Mayor disembowelment finisher, where he says, "You fat slob, let's see if you have any guts," and
Yeah.
rips his fucking gut open.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fuck him. Not like that. And then when they're all sitting there and the mayor's like, is he dead? And the dude's just like, like sitting their mouth open. It's like that line delivery is like, is he dead?
Yeah.
It gets me every fucking time. But what about you guys? Do you guys have any other ones you want to shout out?
I think we covered all the good ones.
What? We didn't talk about when he's just eating eggs.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
and he's got like
yeah.
all
Like a
the salt
millionaire.
packets and shit.
Mountain of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no bacon. What's up with that,
And
Melvin?
how did she not burn them alive? Cooking
Right.
offline. Yeah,
He's just that good, bro.
that's so good. So good.
I will say that's like the only goof in the film I get. Well, I don't know if it's a goof for them just being funny, but in the montage, he's got like he puts like a cone on his head or whatever, and she like
Yeah.
laughs at it, and it's like she's blind. How the fuck would she know it was funny? Like, or just, like how can you see it?
And let's go back to Cock when she's feeling him up. Oh, you're
Yeah.
so strong, and then she goes down there. She's like, oh,
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
I like when they're like when they go to have sex the first time and he's like, "You're making me feel things I never felt before," and he starts steaming.
He's like, what's
Yeah.
happening to me? It doesn't help that it's that
and
voice.
how did he not melt her
Yeah.
when they
Yeah.
banged?
Yeah.
Like, how did she not disintegrate and shit?
Maybe she's got the Lois
The magic
Lane
womb.
Yeah.
I don't think she's.
Wonder
Well,
Woman.
it goes back to that
Mhm.
argument. They say Superman should technically, his nut should shotgun blast Lois Lane. Maybe she's built the same way.
I will say she's not in the sequel, so maybe she did get cervical cancer or something like that.
Man.
Maybe.
The
Yeah,
radiation
it
just
is-
blasting down.
It's so weird. That's a fun thing you bring up. It's so weird that Sarah's not in the sequel. It's Claire, and it's the same character.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she's
Yeah.
like she's like weirder. Like Claire's a weirder version. She's like the hair's all like teased up, and like she's definitely more eccentric. But like I was like, because we were just watching, and it clicked over to part 2, and he's like, yeah, I got a good girlfriend, Claire. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Her fucking name's different in the sequel. And now when you go and see like all the Troma stuff, if they bring like like one of the people to wear the Toxic stuff, the girl that shows up is Claire, not Sarah. Like they don't even like acknowledge Sarah. It's all about like Claire now.
Yeah.
Now, if I were to rank them, number 1 is the best. Number 4 is the second best. The one with Ron Jeremy and all. Because at that point, they just went
Citizen Toxic, yeah.
over the top offensive and crazy. And then I would say 3, then 2.
Is
I
it
think I would
3?
agree with that.
Is it 3 and 2 that are or 2 and 3 that are supposed to be? They were supposed to be one movie, or was it 3 and 4?
I don't know. I don't remember.
So that's a weird thing. So I think it's 2 and 3. I think when Lloyd Kaufman went to make 2, he had the idea to do like he wanted parts of 3 in there, and I forget the reason why, but there's a thing called the Melvin cut, which
Yeah.
he
Mr.
cuts
Melvin. I think
he takes a bunch of shit out of if it is 2 and 3 or if it's 3 and 4, I can't remember. But either way, he takes a bunch of shit out of both of those films and he smushes it together to make the film that he wanted to make. So you can watch the Toxic Avenger, part 2, the Melvin cut, and it's the movie that Lloyd originally wanted to make. And for some reason, I don't know why he wouldn't be able to do his own thing since it's Troma. But either way, they forced him. He had to like make 2 movies that he really didn't want to make, but he was able to get all the parts he wanted in.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating. He shows the Melvin cut like when he tours with it. I'm hoping they put it out like eventually on like a Blu-ray because it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen that cut.
So you probably haven't because I think he's only shown it like 4 or 5 times. He
Yeah,
showed it at
definitely not.
He showed it at Mahoning, but I didn't go that night. But yeah, it's apparently what he wanted. It was his original vision. He cut so a bunch of stuff you probably like from 2 and 3 are probably cut out of the film, but you get to at least see like what Lloyd really wanted to make before they like made him do edits or whatever the hell he did.
2 was good, but there was like this section of it where it just kind of lagged for too long, and so it doesn't hold the weight that 4 does for me because 4 is just nonstop ridiculousness, and then 2 was also pretty good. So I put 2. Unfortunately, it's probably like my least favorite. They're all great now. I love them all, but 2 is probably the least favorite for me.
I haven't seen any of the sequels to be honest. I need to. I have no.
Me
love
neither,
4.
Tim. I've seen the first one and the new one.
Yeah, Citizen
Same.
Toxic's fucking crazy. And there's
Yeah.
like
Crazy.
there's like a gazillion cameos in it too.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
from like all of Tromaville, like every fucking like characters from other movies are in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fucking
I know like
Rhonda-
Kabuki Man's in one.
Yeah, Lemmy's in it.
Kabuki,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, there's a fucking million people in it.
He went all out on 4.
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah. No, and I think I do remember that Melvin cut being showed. I think I think they renamed it Mr. Melvin or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like only like an hour and 20 some minutes like for 2 movies, so they definitely cut quite a bit of shit out. But
No, like Lloyd
Yeah.
says, he cuts all this stuff that he didn't have in the original scripts.
yeah.
I think it has to be 2 and 3. I don't think Citizen Toxie is related to it. It has to
It
be
is,
2 and
it
3.
is
Yeah.
2 and 3. I just
Yeah.
looked it up.
Yeah.
No, yeah. No, I definitely need to get into watching these sequels, so maybe something we could touch on in the future for sure. But
Hell yeah.
But we can rate this out of 10, guys, and we'll just we'll go back. We'll start with Trav.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you want. I got some responses.
Oh yeah,
I
go
put
ahead.
I put a thing up. So yeah, so I put a thing. I got Phil Pernt. He used to be in a band called Grounds. I don't know if they're still active, but they ripped. They were a grind band from New Jersey. He said it's an NJ superhero classic, top tier Troma. Gave it 9 out of 10. My old guitarist Pat from Bottomfeeder. He's in Swashbuckle. He's in Born Tired. He's in Nora. He's in like a million bands. He just said 10 out of 10. My wife said she doesn't think I care about her review, but she said it deserved an Oscar, A+, perfect film. And then Candy gave me, let me get Candy's thing while I'm on the phone. Candy said, the Toxic Avenger is a trash classic and has that perfect Troma aroma that works so well here. It's always fun to revisit and has surprising polish for a Troma film, making it make sense that it's a signature Troma. She said standby, so I don't know. But she said it's bad taste, but manages keeps the black comedy funny in the vein of something like Street Trash. She gave it 7.5 out of 10.
Oh yeah. Shout out Pat, past guest of the show. He was on the show in the past.
Yeah.
It's still audio only episodes. If you go looking for that, it's only on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and shit. But now we'll start with we'll go back to the OG order of how y'all joined the show to get the ratings. Travis, what's or we'll just go on how y'all are on my screen actually. So we'll start with to the left of me, at least on my screen. Travis, what's your rating 10 out of 10 on Toxic Avenger?
I mean, it feels like on the nose to give it a 10, but like I'm instinctually like I want to because it's a movie I put on and it never disappoints for me from like childhood till now. It's like I don't know. I love it every single time and I can watch it. Like I watched it last year on a random Tuesday after work because I felt like Melvin changing into Toxie in the bathtub after like spraying at work one day. I just was like full of chemicals and trash. And I was just like, I'm just gonna watch this because that's how I feel today. And, Laura came home and saw me watching it. I just started it over and we did it again. So it never disappoints. So, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. Fuck it.
Oh yeah. What about you, Phil? What's your to my left and bottom? What's your 10 out of well, not your 10. I'm sure you're gonna give it a 10 out of 10, probably. What's your rating out of 10?
You are correct, sir. This is a 10 out of 10. It has everything I love.
Oh yeah.
And the rewatchability all these years. They do it at least once a year, minimum. I show it to so many different people from so many different walks of life. Like the next 2 people I'm going to watch that are going to watch this in my house are my wife's coworkers. I can't wait to show that to these girls. They're going to they're going to bug the fuck out. And I'm going to love
I know
every
who he's
moment.
talking about. That's going to be funny.
Yes.
To see the reaction.
So, showing it to my boys, friends, all that, like it never gets old. Like I enjoyed it last night, bro. Like coming into this. So 10 out of 10. Lloyd Kaufman is a genius. And, he doesn't get the credit he deserves as a filmmaker, as a comedian, and all the things he puts into these films. So shout out to him. This was a masterpiece. This is his masterpiece. And I salute you, Lloyd.
Oh yeah. What about you, Wren? What's your rating out of 10?
So it's like kind of hard because like Troma films are kind of on their own scale. It's like So like in terms of Troma, it probably is a 10 out of 10. It's probably like the pinnacle of Troma films, which is I love it. It's the movie that when people are like, oh, they want to learn about Troma, I'm like, well, start with it. You have to start with the Toxic Avenger. Like that's the movie you should start with, because I feel, aside from maybe that Jenna Fisher, James Gunn thing, when you're talking about like classic Troma, this is probably the easiest way to ease someone in, because I can't, like, as much as I would love to tell someone just watch Terra Firmer, like that's probably not the best place to start, because you watch Terra Firmer, that's a niche thing. But if you can watch the Toxic Avenger, like I'm like, all right, let's go into like Nukem High, let's go into Romeo and Juliet, shit like that. Like, so for me, like this is like, Patient Zero, this is the one you start at, so it has to be 10 out of 10. And it probably, like, looking at some of the films, like especially some of the later like Troma films, this is probably like one of the best like made ones, which is crazy because like Troma is like known for not being well made films like at all, and that's why we love them, because they're cheesy as hell. But this is probably like, this movie looks like a film you would have seen in theaters in the 80s, which I know. I mean, I know it got a theatrical run, but like this just feels like this doesn't look any different than any other like action film that came out in the 80s. It was just like you look at the effects and you're like, oh, it's cheesy effects because of the time. But like, other Troma films, you're like, yeah, that there's no way that was in theaters. But yeah. So I mean, I love the Toxic Avenger. I'll give it a 10 out of 10 as well, because on the Troma scale, because it's the one. It's the one you got to start with. It's like, in the Mount Rushmore. It's the George Washington of the Mount Rushmore of Troma films.
Oh,
Yes, sir. And I've actually seen it in the theater in recent day, like at the Alamo. Alamo did it like last year. And so I went to see it. And I've also seen the play, the musical.
oh yeah.
That was great too. That was great too. So
The music for the play was done by the dude from Bon Jovi. So shout out to
hmm
Brian David, I think is his name. Brian something. I don't know. But
so good.
yeah.
good.
Oh yeah. What about you, Jay? What's your rating out of 10?
I'm gonna give it a 10, Tim. This is the Trauma film. The rest of it don't exist without this. Thank you, Lloyd Kaufman, for giving us Toxie. And look, if you're fucking Roger Ebert or whatever, you're gonna shit on this movie. But we're not here because we're that. We're here because we love this kind of shit. And what political correctness does not know, not that I'm a hate on that, whatever, but this movie is a safe space for people like us, lovers of the outrageous and of, not having any boundaries or rules to hold you back and just express your creative outlet. That's what this is. And that's who Lloyd Kaufman is as a film director. So that's all I got to say about it.
Okay. No, and one thing that we didn't touch on that I want to mention is the fact that this has music that slaps in this fucking thing. But Body Talk,
Body Talk, baby.
dude, that
Hell
song
yeah.
rules. And then of course, which is
I
awesome.
thought
Freshly
I
in my
used to
mind.
think I used to think it was Motley Crue. One song in particular, but
Oh yeah,
it
the other
sounds
one,
so much like that.
yeah, there's like two songs that play. Well, Body Talk's a big one, and then there's that other one that plays like
Mhm.
when they're having sex, and then like later on, or like
Yes,
it's like during the
yes, that's the
montage.
one.
Yeah, it plays like 3 or 4 times or whatever. But I always thought
It
that
does
was
sound like
the
Vince Neil for sure. Yeah.
I thought the first one was Olivia Newton-John for some reason. Body Talk, I think just because physical, it like sounds kind of like it. But
Yeah.
and then of course, I talked to Adam Gomez recently because that episode already be out. But the drummer for the Dickies, current drummer for the Dickies, of course, he wasn't back in the '80s, but they have the song "The Toxic Avenger," and of course, he said that he talked to like the vocalist and stuff, which is still the original vocalist. But and of course, apparently they wrote that song for the movie, but they were so late getting it together and like recorded that it never made the movie. So I'm surprised it never made the sequels or anything. But shout out to that song as well, even though it's not in the film. It's a sick song. So, but no, I got to give this a 9 out of 10, and the only reason I would dock it a point literally is because this movie's only an hour and 22 minutes. Give me another 10 minutes of like crazy shit in the climax. I feel like the climax wraps up a little too rapid, in my opinion. Like once he shows up to the place where there's the cops and the mayor, it's literally like 2 minutes later and he's ripping his guts out and it's over. I feel like they could have like with all the other stuff that happened with Toxie and stuff, the scene could like I feel like his scene in the alleyway early on with the three thugs was longer than like this scene, you know what I mean? So that was that's like literally my only gripe with the film is I feel like it wraps up way too quick for some of the other stuff that lingers and stuff. But no, I love this film. I agree. It's such a blast. I would love to see it in theaters with people and definitely agree this is where you should start with Troma and stuff like that, as far as like dipping your feet in and stuff, because it goes crazy places, but I feel like it goes as crazy places in a way that feels so crazy that it's hard not to just laugh at it and forget about, like you said, Jay, like the PC part of it. You know what I mean? It feels like a safe space because of that stuff. But no, hell yeah, guys. It's been fun having you guys back on the show fucking 6 months later, 7 months later. But
Yeah.
now we can finally probably start doing these monthly again. Now that
Yeah.
weekdays are on
I'm
the table.
game,
So
bro. I'm game. Hell yeah. Keep it going.
now I didn't think because before Jay only had Fridays and Saturdays, and I know with most of you guys having projects and that just being a busy, day in general for most people, that's why I hadn't really been reaching out to try to set these back up. So that's why I was like, let me just ask about like what your schedule happens to be now, and then when which of course, like I know there's sometimes like not everybody's gonna make it and whatnot, but this was Jay's pick, so he had to be in this one. So, but now that I know that you have weeknights available, it makes it way more easier, so we can keep rolling with these if you guys are down. So.
Oh
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
So further notice, like I said, weekends, and I'm free most weeknights. So
Oh yeah. Now next up will be Travis's pick. I know it would technically be my pick, but because I do the episodes with Steven now where I get to pick all the time, I'll just let you guys pick these ones. So
Cool.
Travis is up next for the month of May, because this will drop in April by the time it comes out. So
Good
Cool.
Boy Part 2.
Yeah.
no, now we're gonna do the
Yeah.
good boy with the dog. But
Yeah.
just confuse people. But no, hell yeah. But I appreciate you guys, man. It was a blast chatting with y'all, and I'm stoked to have you back.
Hell yeah.
Good to be back.
Likewise,
boys.
bro. Hell yeah.
Yep. It was awesome.